Now, I know I said minor spoilers, but if you want to go into this completely blind, I recommend you skip this video entirely. I do touch on a few parts of the movie, but nothing that reveals any of the mystery or the plot. Cuckoo is a film I've been anticipating for quite some time now, and the end product left me feeling a lot of things. The main reason I was so hyped for this movie, and I won't lie to you here, was purely because Hunter Schafer was the lead. I absolutely loved her in Euphoria. She was easily the standout, and also Schafer wrote one of my favorite TV episodes of all time, Fuck Everyone Who's Not a C-Blob. That episode truly left a lasting impact on me and recontextualized a lot about Euphoria and especially Jules' character and even parts of my own life. It was something that I connected with really personally and it affected me in a deep way. So I was really excited to see what Hunter was going to do next, so of course I saw the Hunger Games for her, and I was also very pleased to see her in Kinds of Kindness, even if it was for just 3 minutes. But Cuckoo excited me because I finally got to see her on the big screen in a lead role, even if she had nothing to do with the actual production of the film. At first, I was planning not to make a video on this because I didn't think the film would leave me with anything to talk about, but this film was certainly an experience. I honestly really dug this film. Something about original horror films from this decade like Longlegs, Talk to Me, and Barbarian all scratch a very certain itch for me. Horror will forever be one of my favorite genres. It is one of the genres that gives me that kind of urge and inspiration to create. For my entire life, I've been making little short films with friends and family, and many of them have been horror adjacent. Horror is just such a fun genre. There are pretty much endless boundaries to horror and infinite ways to make something effective in a horror film. Cuckoo is no exception to this rule. For every second this film was worth, this film was actively trying to stand out and do something new in the nowadays bland horror scene. Some of the creative decisions don't work entirely for me, but a lot of them definitely do. For example, the editing, a pretty standout feature of this film. There's a certain editing choice here that, and if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about, but it caught me really off guard the first time it happened. I'm sure it did most people too. The film does this thing where it cuts back to the start of the scene over and over and the camera starts shaking rapidly, which is kind of supposed to be like a time loop kind of concept. This threw me for a complete loop, no pun intended, but also really intrigued me to be honest. Part of me rolled my eyes and thought it was a stupid choice, but as the film goes on and it keeps happening, it becomes more apparent what its purpose is and becomes more effective. It still doesn't entirely work for me, it definitely comes off a little gimmicky, but in certain scenes it works really well and elevates the film's creativity and stakes. Other than that, I found the editing to be honestly perfect in how the film is paced. This was by far the best part of the film for me, as not a single scene drags or goes by too fast. This was my biggest issue with the film Longlegs, as that film took its time, which I really dug. I love a slow burn, but then it resolved all its problems in what felt like a matter of seconds. But this film really makes sure you feel the impact and weight of every scene due to the perfect sequencing and structure of this film. Each act has a defining start and finish, and the film overall has a great payoff. There really isn't that much exposition here either, which is a plus, as I was worried that the film was going to reveal the entire mystery at once. But instead it's smarter and reveals more information slowly over the runtime. The mystery is also one of my favorite elements of the film. You never really get a full feel for what is going on, and my favorite part about this was that it made all the supporting cast that much more interesting. You never know their true motivations really for anything, which sounds like a problem, but I think it was really effective. It drew you into putting together the puzzle yourself and made it so you can never know who to trust other than the main character. As pretty much standard as this film is, part of me found it really intriguing, mainly due to its bizarre nature, which is a big jump from what the viewer was accustomed to before the halfway point. Now, this big turning point in the film I'm talking about, when shit starts to hit the fan, is honestly terrifyingly weird. I'm trying to make this review spoiler free, but let me just say there are some moments here that had my jaw on the floor. Nothing necessarily too shocking or disturbing, but I really admired how absurd this film was able to go and stick the landing as well as it did. I mean, seriously, I feel like I am not highlighting enough how crazy this film is. I mean, at points it is batshit insane, and I really respect it. My main problem with the film is just, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. As much as I love the unraveling of the mystery, the way the film explains what is actually happening is quite short-sighted and misses the mark a bit, leaving the third act feel a bit confusing to the audience and also kind of confused on what it's trying to accomplish in the first place. As tense as the finale is and how it wraps up nicely, you leave the film with a bunch of questions, but not the good kind. A lot of it is just kind of left untouched and unexplained, which is honestly a shame, because if they had just tightened this up a bit, this could have been great. But general screenwriting clunkiness and scatterbrained storyline aside, I found Cuckoo to be really fresh and exciting. The filmmaking here is absolutely smooth, the use of wide shots and angles feel purposeful, and the pristine cinematography maintains a consistent atmosphere. Hunter Schafer is also amazing. She provides a much needed layer of emotion and humanity, which helps the audience attach to the protagonist quickly. The main trope around the family dynamic here with the dead parent, that works really well here too, surprisingly. It doesn't feel shoehorned in, and it also serves as a good backstory for the character, which also explains a lot of her actions and motivations in a non-obvious or cliche way. One of my favorite elements was the production design, which everything here has a very certain look to it. The buildings and rooms are all intricately crafted to create a very vibrant vibe and color to the film. This also helps add to the thematic density, as it kind of provides a false sense of security to the audience and to the protagonist. Everything here is crafted to look warm and inviting, and the choice to switch from this more cozy, homey set to a more brutalistic gray one in the moments of unfamiliarity and fear is a great one, and proves the director has a good understanding of visual storytelling. The sound here is also designed really well. There is a certain eerie ambience lingering throughout the film, making the more explosive moments that much more impactful. However, this is really it when it comes to positives outside of personal enjoyment. It is really easy to critique this film, as it doesn't leave the viewer with a ton to chew on or really any personal impact, and the overambition sometimes gets the film too caught up in itself. But with this, I'm willing to forgive a lot, as I really admire its ambition and creativity, also for creating a perfectly paced horror flick. Seriously, I had a ton of fun with this, and the reason I wanted to make a spoiler-free review was because I wanted people to check this one out. So, overall, I don't have a ton to say about Cuckoo other than that it was really fucking weird, a bit messy, but in the end, a ton of fun, and has a ton of ideas that work really well. This is honestly a must-watch for horror fans. I think you'll get a kick out of this whether you think the film's good or not. That's all I have to say about this film. Make sure you check it out and comment down below what you thought. I know this video was a bit short, but honestly, I just had a really good time with Cuckoo. I think everyone should check it out. My next video is going to be a Star Wars retrospective / ranking. I'm excited for that. But other than that, that's pretty much it. Follow me on Letterboxd, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. And as always, have a good day.